A lot of times we have the intention of doing something or making changes, and we hold that intention for so long that we actually forget to execute. And the change is in the execution. So the results come with the action. The intention or the thought behind it, which would be the decision of something, is the first part of it. But you can't stay there. You can't prepare the whole time and be like, well, I'm going to prepare and prep and get everything in order before I actually do something. At some point, you have to execute. It's like you could be really good at selling, but if you're not, if nothing's sold, you're not really good. You're really not that good, because you're spending all the time in the convincing or the selling or the busy work. So like getting so caught up in busy work, it's like you're majoring in the minor things. You're doing really great in all of the little tasks, but those little tasks aren't really doing anything. They're not giving you the results. They're not making the changes. It would be better to be really great at one big task or one task that produces than it would be spending your time on all of those little tasks. For example, you might be really good keeping your home in order and rearranging and finding spots for things and organizing and labeling your bins and stacking them and putting away your seasonal decor. And you might be really good at that, but how much time are you actually spending doing all of that without actually living in the freedom that you're trying to actually create? So you're majoring in the minor things. You're doing really great in the things that are stealing your time, and then you feel like, oh, I'm really productive. Well, busyness and productive are two separate things. And this is a trap even I fall into, where I feel like, oh, I had a really productive day. And when I think about it, well, what did I really do? Because sometimes being productive is taking a bath. Sometimes being productive looks like something different. It's not necessarily being busy. Like going for a walk is so much more productive than sitting and scrolling on your phone with the TV on in the background. You know, it's majoring in things or being really mindful about how you're spending your time. So you're not faking, you're not like, oh yeah, I'm doing really great, I'm making all this progress, but really you're not, nothing's getting done. At some point you have to execute. If you spend all your time reading about different subjects, but you're not executing, it's like you're not actually taking the test, or maybe you're reading about running a marathon. You'd like to run a marathon. So you'd get more out of actually running a marathon than you would about reading it. Now, yes, certain times you need to like prepare and figure out so you don't make mistakes. But a lot of times we learn by actually doing anyways. So, you know, with fitness or with like if you're weight training, your body kind of knows what not to do. I'm not going to overdo something if I know, okay, this clearly I'm not there yet, because you could hurt yourself. You need to, you know, listen, be in tune to how does this feel? Is this a painful move? Am I doing it the wrong way? But normally it's by the doing. If I was just to read or watch a video and be like, to see how somebody else is doing it, I wouldn't really learn it as quickly as if I tried it myself. Because once you try it yourself, you build that memory of, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done. On building social media, we can get so caught up in posting. I see this all the time where women are posting so many times a day, like nonstop. It's the same videos, just redone. It's the same look, just redone. And they're doing it because they're trying to grow their account. And maybe it's working, maybe it's not, but it's so much of one thing that's not really producing the results. It'd be better to be more intentional about your posting. And why are you posting what you're posting? Are you just throwing content out there? I mean, I see some people, they're posting 5 times a day. I'm like, it's crazy. You're trying to get, obviously, the more videos, the more content, the more followers, the more your reach. And so it's like a game to get more and more and more and more and grow and grow. And how much more can I get? And how much more followers? And how much more money can I make? And how much, you know, but if you just slow down and realize, what am I actually promoting or selling or offering? Is this helping to change somebody's life? What am I actually doing? And so at some point you got to take inventory and back up and maybe say, okay, maybe I need to rebrand myself. Maybe I need to do something different, instead of just feeling like, oh, I accomplished something today because I posted 5 things today or whatever it is. So just gaining perspective on being productive and being busy. They're 2 separate things in life. in our day-to-day, and not letting those busy tasks control our life, thinking that we're winning when we're not winning. If you're spending a lot of time rotating stuff in your house, try having less stuff. It'll cut the time that you're doing it way down, because you're not rotating pieces. You're not walking by like, let me rearrange this coffee table 5 times, because if you have less stuff to rearrange, and really if you let go of what you don't really love and you keep what you love, it's so much easier to decorate, because you're like, I don't want to move that because I love it. I love how it looks. That's a piece I love. Normally we're moving the pieces that we don't really love. We're moving the things that we're like, something's not right. It doesn't really look good there. I need to move it. I need to make a difference or whatever. I'm bored with this. But if you love the piece, you could put it anywhere and it'll look great, But normally it's because we have too much. We're dealing with too much stuff, too many options, too many clothes, too many pairs of shoes, too many bath products, skin products, hair products. Our to-do list is so big. Our kitchens are just overloaded and packed. Too many ingredients in our body, too much home decor, too many stores we're shopping at. Like, do yourself a favor and narrow it down, simplify to what places you actually love. I have a handful of stores that I love for different reasons, and those are normally the stores that I shop through or I promote because I love them. Doesn't mean I'm not open to another store, but you know what you resonate with and what you don't. Maybe you resonate with a specific store, you can't afford it, so you go to the stores that you don't really love but you find cheaper things. Maybe if you stopped going to the other stores to buy cheaper things, you could afford what you wanted at the other store, especially when things go on sale. It'll probably be the same price as it is at the other store if you just wait for that sale and then snag what you want. I just know it's better to hold off to buy what you love and what you want than to compromise and get what you really don't want. I almost just did that actually on a little table. I'm like, this would be a better price, but I have my heart set on a specific table that I love. There's one from our house and one from Restoration Hardware, console tables. They'll fit perfectly. Yeah, they're more expensive than what I could buy a cheaper one at this other store that would work just as great. But ultimately, I'll probably end up getting rid of the one if I go with the cheaper one. I will end up letting it go because it's not what I really want. It's just what I ended up getting. So I'm going to hold off until something happens, and I'll tell you guys when it does, because who knows? I don't know. Maybe somebody will buy it for me. Maybe the company will collaborate with me. Maybe, somehow I know I'll be able to get it at some point, and I'm just going to hold off. And in the meantime, I'll leave that space empty, and I won't decorate it until I get what I want. It's okay to have empty space in your house, empty wall space, an empty shelf, empty drawers. Like, just because the space is there doesn't mean you have to fill it. You're going to spend money and time filling up space. If it's not usable or it's not convenient or, you don't need to, then let it sit. If you think, well, maybe this space would look great with a mirror or a wall art, just wait till you find the exact one that you love and then put it there, because then you'll walk by that piece every day and you'll love it. And you'll say, I waited, I love this. This space is not going anywhere. But if you compromise and you start buying just because it's cheaper, it's a good deal, or just to fill the space, you're going to get yourself stuck in a cycle where you're shopping and rotating and moving and changing, and you're bored with it, and another piece will come out, and then you're like, I have way too much. I'm shoving it all in. It's better to just hold off, get what you love, and make your space intentionally reflect not just you, but a nice place to live for your family where it's not suffocating everybody. Little by little, you're going to feel so good because your family will start noticing too. My son just said this, little by little, we're making progress, aren't we? I said, yeah, a little at a time, a day at a time. You just keep going in the direction that you want to go, and you start realizing, I am making progress. Things are different than they were 6 months ago or they were a year ago. We do eat better, we do live better. Our habits are changing. Our standards are changing. What we allow and what we don't allow is changing. So little by little, you're turning into a different direction so you can enjoy all these other areas of life and not be so involved in ridiculous things. And if you look at some of my past videos, most of those things are shopping, terrible friendships, or maintaining the wrong relationships. Those are like the two biggest things I think that destroy our self. Basically, they steal our joy, they take our time, they're not healthy for us, and they produce all kinds of things, because the shopping produces anxiety, which produces unhealthy eating, which produces an unhealthy body. When you don't feel good in your body, you probably don't have a healthy marriage because you don't feel good. You're always trying to like catch up or pay something off or return something. And if you're maintaining the wrong relationships, it's always chaotic. You feel obligated. I have to keep this friend around. Every time we talk, we're gossiping, and, they are intimidated by me trying to make changes and they don't want to. So those are the two biggest culprits, in my opinion, that can really mess up your life. You got to have boundaries and you have to have standards. Boundaries with people, standards with what you allow in your life. That goes for friendships and even your stuff, what you purchase, what you allow and what you bring in. And you start realizing, wow, I do have more control in my life. I'm not a victim. You don't ever want to play the role of a victim. Well, this and that. There's always going to be reasons and excuses, but you can always take control in some areas. Might not be able to handle everything all the time, and you can't change everybody, but you can change yourself. You can take responsibility for yourself. If you don't like how you feel, look at what you're putting in your body. That's the first thing that I look at. I'm so bloated today. What did I eat yesterday? Or if your mind is all fuzzy, well, who did I talk to that put me in a bad mood or, caused chaos? Just to be mindful about what you're engaging in and be willing to let go of the things that are not helping you produce good fruit. It's if you have a friend or a family member who's going through a difficult time and they really need you, they're grieving, that's different. People go through hard seasons. And if you're close to that person, you walk with them during that season. We've gone through difficult seasons, and some people took off, some people gossiped about us during it, some people mocked us during it, and some people walked with us during it. Well, the ones that walked with us during the difficult season without judgment, those are your true friends, because things can happen to anybody. There are things that are out of our control also. And when those things happen, your true friends will say, I don't know all the details, but I will walk with you through this season and help you navigate through. Those are your true friends. But if it's a chronic thing and you are doing the same thing over and over and then you're complaining to people about it, that's different. That's different. And so if you have a friend like that who they're just doing the same thing over and over, they're basically creating their own problems and then they're complaining to you about it, and then they're a victim mindset. And then a lot of times those people have manipulative tactics. They want you to feel bad for them, help me out financially, look what happened to me. And you have to start seeing if it's a pattern, there's something wrong there. Why is there a pattern? What's happening? Why is it a continuous thing, for years or whatever? Then you have to say, what, I just can't be involved in this cycle with you anymore. You're gonna have to figure it out for yourself. People, when their back's pushed up against the wall, they'll figure things out. It sucks, but they will figure it out. When there's nowhere else to turn except for the raw truth, them and God and their spouse or whatever, and they're like, what do we do? This is where we're at. They will figure it out, and God will step in and provide a way for them. And that way might not be through you, so you don't have to jump in and try to save everybody. It's always better to demonstrate with your own life anyways. So by you minding your business, demonstrating with your life, protecting your peace, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be involved in, things that life is not about just making yourself happy all the time and being peaceful all the time. There's trials, there's tribulations, there's different things, there's all of that. So, but if your energy is being sucked out, because our energy goes from us. When we wake up, we got energy, it's leaving us as the day goes on until we're like, oh, we're exhausted. Well, if you're exhausted every single day, and some of the things might be exhausting because maybe the job you're in, like you're a police officer or you're something, and boy, that's an exhausting job. Well, that's where your focus is. You're not gonna be engaged in all of these other ridiculous family problems, because then again, those are just going to suck more out of you. So some things are unavoidable that you're going to have to navigate through. But a lot of them we can put a stop to and say, I'm not dealing with this specific issue. Again, most of the time they're issues that we're creating for ourselves, and then we're like, why am I in this? I did that for years. Why do I have so much credit card debt? Because I was spending so much. I was buying everything. Well, why was I buying everything? Well, because I wanted to. I was stuck in a cycle of, I'm going to buy this. If this person can have it, it's going to make my house better. Like, there was so many different impulses, but that's exactly what they were, impulses. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to do this. It's the things you do without thinking. Like, why do you brush your teeth before you go to the bathroom? Or why do you put your pants on a certain way? These are habitual things that are ingrained in us that we do without thinking. Why am I hitting checkout without thinking on something? Because it's ingrained in me, or it's a habit that I've developed for years that made me do it. So you have to almost like battle with yourself, because it's your new self versus this old person, this old way of thinking. That's with anything in life. It could be with anything. A lot of people are like, well, I deserve this. I'm gonna have a drink tonight because I had a long day. Well, you're punishing your body because you had a long day. Excuse me, why are you doing that? Maybe your parents did that. Maybe it's just become a habit to where you like to unwind with a beer every day or a glass of wine. Well, it is the little things that add up. It's the $5, if somebody says, well, I go to Big Lots and shop, or I go to the Five Below because it's cheap. Okay, it adds up. It's always the little things that add up. Very rarely is it that one big purchase. I bought a really nice cabinet and dining table from Restoration Hardware. It wasn't that one big purchase that I bought. In fact, I still have them because I love them. They're my favorite pieces because I spent a lot of money on them. But it wasn't the one big purchase. It was the little purchases. The little this, the little that, this, that, all these little gadgets. It was the $5 here, the $10 here, the $20 here. It was, let's just go out to eat. Let's just pick up a few burgers. Let's just go to Chick-fil-A. Hey, let's just run through Starbucks. We've had a long week. Let's go here. Let's go there. It's the little things that spoil your life. So it's the little nuisances. Those are the things you have to watch, not the big moves. It's usually never the big moves, because the big moves are usually the well thought out. Especially if it's a bigger investment and you're going to spend, you're thinking about it. You're not just hitting checkout. Like, I have my eye on a couple things. These are big pieces. I'm going to wait for the right time to do it. And it's well thought out. I know I first decide where I'm going to put this. Where's this piece going to fit? I'm measuring the space. I'm not just hitting checkout. I'm calculating, do I really want this? And if you really want something, if it's been 6 months and you still really want it. So if you leave it sit in the cart, for a while, you'll know, I want this after 6 months. But it's those little things, the stupid little wasteful junk, the must-haves and the this and the that stuff adds up. All the little bathroom accessories and all the little things, that adds up. So just because you think, well, it's a good deal, I just run to Home Goods once a week, I bet you look at your receipt, you're spending thousands on stuff that isn't going to satisfy you anyways. You're not going to love your house anymore anyways. It's better to just have controlled thought and movement. Be like, I'm curating. A lot of people I see online, they say, well, I'm curating, or this is a collected home. No, it's cluttered. You're just saying it's curated or it's collected, but it's not. It's just cluttered. You're promoting these different gadgets that are, people think that they must have. You have to have this, it's only this much or whatever, but you're doing it constantly over and over, and you're calling your home a curated home, and it's just a cluttered mess. So it's too much, and I think a lot of people are just overly stimulated with all of this, it's too much. And a lot of the stuff is toxic. The chemicals I just saw a video about all the stuff, most of the stuff at Home Goods is full of lead. And a lot of these nightstands that people are like, oh, this $98 nightstand. Okay, it's right next to your bed. It's full of toxic chemicals. It was so cheap. It's sprayed with so much garbage on it. It's got glue and formaldehyde, and it's not real wood, and it's right next to your bed. And so your head's turned to that item, and you're breathing it in all night because you don't have an air purifier. And it's like, you have to think about this stuff. And if you're putting it in your kids' rooms, and I know a lot of people buy metal beds for their kids. Well, I read that metal beds are actually really bad, not only because they're full of toxic chemicals, but because of lightning when you have a metal bed. I'm sure that's true. I don't know the statistics on it, but it'd be better to have a wood bed, I think, or upholstered. But you're just being a little bit more mindful instead of just buying because it's a good deal. Waiting until you can save up the money to buy what you really want is going to be so much more satisfying than buying what influencers tell you to buy, especially as we're coming into like it's summer and we're going into fall. Everyone's going to be promoting seasonal junk and seasonal garbage. Don't fall for it. Save your money. Put some nice fall foliage, a warm colored throw blanket, some cozy throw pillows. That's all you need for fall. Maybe a pumpkin, a glass pumpkin or something, you know, you add in a few nice things, but you don't need all the junk and all of the fake stuff to have this harvest fall look. Save your money. Just save it. It's going to end up in the landfill anyways. Ends up at Goodwill, ends up in the landfill, like, you know. Anyways, I got to end this talk because my arm hurts and it's hot out. It's getting too hot, so I'm going to have to slow down on these talks. I'm getting dehydrated.